What's going on, guys? Kodak here, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. Today we're going to be taking a personality test. Now, I got this idea from Jacksepticeye. I just watched a video on his channel, and I thought, you know what? That's actually a pretty good idea because I haven't really tested my personality in a long time. Now, some of these questions, I'm sure my friends are going to see this and be like, yeah, that's not true at all. But you know what? This is my test, and this is how I feel about myself. So sit back and relax, and we'll see what Kodak is like. Alright, first question. You enjoy vibrant social events with lots of people. Back in the day, I wasn't really like that. I've kind of calmed down more to the idea now, so I would go ahead and say that I would agree with that. You often spend time exploring unrealistic yet intriguing ideas. Hmm. Hmm. I think a lot about what I could do with if I was in a certain situation, or if I had you know, like certain monetary value or anything like that, funds and all that. So I would agree with that as well. Your travel plans are more likely to look like a rough list of ideas than a detailed itinerary. Um, I would I would disagree with that because honestly, I don't really travel that much. Mostly, I do it for when I go to conventions and such like that. But other than that, I don't really travel. And whenever I go to conventions with like my sister and stuff like that, it's always planned ahead. Always like we were always planned like years in ahead, or months to years in advance. So yeah, disagree. You often think about what you should have said in a conversation long after it has taken place. I would absolutely agree with that. I can't tell you how many times where I've talked to somebody, one of my friends, a stranger or whatever, and a topic gets brought up, and I say my piece, they say their piece, and then 20 minutes later, it's like, oh, I should have said that. I could have said that. That would have made things a lot better, a lot smoother. I would fully agree with this. If your friend is sad about something, your first instinct is to support them emotionally, not try to solve their problem. I would definitely agree with that because I've been put in that situation. And I've had friends, come up to me and try to explain things in like the bigger picture, like the bigger light. And while I understand that, and that's obviously one way to look at something, you also have to um, console them and be there for them because their world might have just came crashing down more than you realize. So I try to I definitely try to help my friends the best I can when they go through situations that I haven't gone through yet. So definitely agree with that. People can rarely upset you. That is 100% bullshit. I always get upset, and I hate that about myself. The smallest thing can make me mad. Um, I don't know why. It's just the way I'm built. And that's as far as I'll go with it. So, disagree. You often rely on other people to be the ones to start a conversation and keep it going. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Um, I'm always the type of person that can come into a conversation and I'll just add my 2 cents later after everything else has been said. Um, because sometimes I feel like my opinions or ideas aren't as strong as others, and that's just the way I feel. I know other people are going to say, that's not the case. Your opinion matters, and it does. I'm not saying it doesn't. Um, but I just feel like I can add stuff later that hasn't been said. I can get my thought process going better. If you have to temporarily put your plans on hold, you make sure it is your top priority to get back on track as soon as possible. Yeah, I would agree with that. and I hate doing that. I always like to get stuff done as soon as possible because when something comes up unexpectedly, it really puts a damper on me. It actually makes me depressed because, especially if it's something serious, because you could have like, for example, you could be having the best day ever, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then out of nowhere you just get hit with something, whatever, like a bill or a family matter, whatever, and it's like, great, now I have to take care of this in order, before I can get back to doing that, and it can get annoying. You rarely worry if you made a good impression on someone you met. No. No, I still definitely worry. I think good first impressions are always key, especially if you're going to meet somebody again. Now, I mean, if this is the first time and last time you're going to meet this person, obviously it doesn't matter. But even so, if I go like to a store or something and I buy something, obviously I don't, and I'm talking to a clerk or cashier or whatever, obviously I want to be, good, make a good first impression, because you never know, you might see them again. So I would disagree with that. It would be a challenge for you to spend the whole weekend all by yourself without feeling bored. Absolutely not. I can easily entertain myself. With my action figure photography and obviously video games and all that. I also eat a lot, so yeah, I definitely disagree. That's not to say I don't like to go out and have fun. You are more of a detail-oriented than a big picture person. I'm a little indifferent on this one because I can go back and forth for sure. Obviously, I like to get the facts as soon as possible. I'm always thinking in the now and not really the future, which is really what I should be doing considering I'm 30 years old. Not getting any younger. But currently, I would say that. You are very affectionate with people you care about. Yeah, absolutely. I always like to try to make people happy no matter what. And I know that I can't all the time, and I know that there are times when I think that I am and I'm really not. But I try my best, and I would say most of my friends would agree with this. So, you have a careful and methodical approach to life. I'm usually aware of my surroundings and what's going on, and I'm not really the type of person to throw caution to the wind. That's all I'll say on that. You are still bothered by the mistakes you made a long time ago. Absolutely. I mean, I think anybody would agree with that. There's a lot of stuff back in the day that I wish I could change. Obviously some people would be like, no, you are you are who you are now because of those mistakes. And while that may be true, there are times when I dwell on it, and it can be uncomfortable sometimes. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm not proud of who the person I am. I like the stuff that I have in here that I've been able to get. The people I've met. And I don't know. There's just a few things that you wish you could change that you can't. But time moves on, or time goes on, and so should you. So, at parties and similar events, you can mostly be found farther away from the action. I would agree with that. I'm not really a party guy. I have been to parties, but usually I'm kind of in the background talking to like one or two people, or if there's a pet, playing around with the pet. Now, if it's something that like I put together or something like that, then I'm definitely the kind of guy that likes to be front and center. Um, so I don't know. I guess I would honestly have to go in the middle on this, because if it's my thing, I'm all about it. But if it's somebody else's, then I'm kind of in the background. You often find it difficult to relate to people who let their emotions guide them. I would disagree, because I'm one of those people. Yeah, I'm just going to disagree with that and move on. You can stay calm under a lot of pressure. I can tell myself that, but ultimately it's hard. So, sometimes I like to believe when something is going on that I'm keeping a level head, but really deep down it's like I'm freaking out all the time. So I would disagree. When in a group of people you do not know, you have no problem jumping right into their conversation. I would definitely disagree with that. Because I don't know these people. I don't know, if they're going to value my idea, or if they're going to rip my head off for saying something that I believe over what they don't believe. So, when you sleep, your dreams tend to be bizarre and fantastical. That's, for 100% sure. I can't tell you how many times I've had dreams where I'm just like, man, I wish I didn't have to wake up. In your opinion, it is sometimes okay to step on others to get ahead in life. I would absolutely disagree with that. To be honest, I can't remember if I've ever done this in my life. I hope not. I'm sure there probably has been maybe once or twice where I did something to, get somewhere else, but as of right now, I can't think of a time, and I would never want anybody to do this to someone. Unfortunately, I witness it a lot, and sometimes it's hard to take in. So you are dedicated and focused on your goals, only rarely getting sidetracked. This is tough, because I don't know if I have any major goals right now. I mean, I think I have a couple, but I wouldn't call them major. I'm currently trying to get stuff in line for things to happen, and I feel like I'm slowly getting there, not as fast as I'd like. Usually if I want to make something happen, I can. It's just sometimes it can be pure laziness, and I think everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people can relate to that. So, if you make a mistake, you tend to start doubting yourself, your abilities, or your knowledge. That definitely can happen. I try not to make a lot of mistakes. I try to be a perfectionist. No, that's not possible. We're human. And I know that my knowledge is not, top level. I definitely have more street smarts over like book smarts and math smarts and all that. But I try to do the best I can. When at a social event, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. I would definitely agree to that. I usually need someone to introduce me to someone else. It's just, it's hard. It's hard for me because I'm not so open. I'm easy to get along with, don't get me wrong, but if I'm with a bunch of people and I don't know a bunch of people, then, I most likely need a friend to come over and be like, hey man, let's go talk to, so-and-so. And so you usually lose interest in a discussion when it gets philosophical. I would definitely disagree with that. I'm always up for philosophy. You would never let yourself cry in front of others. Well, considering I've already done that, disagree. You feel more drawn to places with a bustling and busy atmosphere than to more quiet and intimate ones. I like being close to, like, bigger buildings, food places, stuff like that. But I also like quiet time for sure. I think everybody likes that. So I'm gonna have to mostly agree. You like discussing different views and theories on what the world could look like in the future. For sure. I mean, I like to talk about the future and what could happen in it, because every day is always changing. You never know what's going to happen. When it comes to making life-changing choices, you mostly listen to your heart rather than your head. Back in the day, let's say like 10 years ago, I would agree with that. I feel like I've become more level-headed. I know some around me might not agree with that, but I feel like my choices that I make now are a lot better than they were like 10 years ago. So, I disagree. You cannot imagine yourself dedicating your life to the study of something that you cannot see, touch, or experience. I think I would agree with that because I always need something physical. I need something there. Like in the moment. I can't fabricate something and dedicate my life to that. I always need... We'll just leave it at that. 50%. We're halfway there, guys. You usually prefer to get your revenge rather than forgive. Prefer to get your revenge rather than forgive? What can I get my revenge on? I'm not going to kill nobody. I'm not going to commit murder. I mean, there are a lot of times when I get mad, and there's really nothing I can do about it. You just gotta bite down and move on. So I'm gonna say disagree. You often make decisions on a whim. Disagree. The time you spend by yourself often ends up being more interesting and satisfying than time you spend with other people. I would disagree with that. I can have a lot of intellectual conversations with my friends, and we learn new stuff about each other almost every day. Not to say that time by yourself isn't bad. It's not. But I definitely can learn a lot more when I'm with my friends. So, you often put special effort into interpreting the real meaning or the message of a song or a movie. Yeah, I'll agree with that. You always know exactly what you want. You rarely think back on the choices you made and wonder what you could have done differently. I would disagree with that. I feel like I've already answered this question. Because I'm always, I'm not always, but there are definitely times when I think about certain situations where it's like, well, I could have done that differently, I could have done this differently. Where would I be at today if I'd made those choices? When in a public place, you usually stick to quieter and less crowded areas. I would disagree because I'm always at conventions and stuff like that, so I'm always in the thick of the crowd. You tend to focus on present realities rather than future possibilities. I would definitely agree with that because I'm always thinking in the now. I'm never thinking in the future, and I know that's bad. I really need to be thinking about my future and what's going to be in it, who's going to be in it. But I'm always like, I'm thinking, what can I do tomorrow? What can I do right now? I'm never thinking about what can I do 10 years from now, or where am I going to be at 5 years from now. I don't know. I just I like doing things and having things right now. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. I would definitely disagree with that. I feel like if someone's going through a hard time, then I at least always try to do my best in trying to help them or trying to cope with what they're going through. Because I've had a lot of friends go through things that I can't relate to, not yet anyway. And so I try to do the best I can to help them. Now I know I always won't be able to do that, but I do what I can. When starting to work on a project, you prefer to make as many decisions up front as possible. Definitely not. If I'm in a project with a group of people, I won't say the last, but I'm not the first person to speak up saying we need to do this, this, and this. I like to hear what other people got going on first. And I also feel like this is a question I've already answered. These questions are all over the place. When you know someone thinks highly of you, you also wonder how long it will be until they become disappointed in you. I don't even know anyone that thinks highly of me. I don't really think highly of me. I don't know why anybody else would. I mean, I know I'm not a loser, but so I'm gonna disagree with that. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. No. I'm never comfortable with that. Like I said before, if I see someone new and one of my friends is talking to them, they have to introduce me to them. I cannot do it. I don't know. I guess I'm just socially awkward. Now, I can keep a conversation going if they come up to me, because I'm very easy to get along with. You meet me, I'll talk to you forever. But you have to initiate the conversation. You often drift away into daydreaming about various ideas or scenarios. I would definitely agree with that, especially at work. I'm always thinking about, what can I buy, what can I do, and all that. You look after yourself first, and others come in second. No. If I can help anybody, if I'm able to help anybody, then I would absolutely do what I can for them. There's always the mentality of people that, you're supposed to come first, you need to look after yourself before others, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. You got to take care of yourself too. But I always like helping people if they need it. If it's something that I can do. Now, I know my limits. I know I can't do everything. Even when you have planned a particular daily routine, you usually just end up doing what you feel like at any given moment. I would agree with that. There are times when I got stuff planned and I'm just like, nope, next thing. Your mood can change very quickly. Absolutely. More often than not. If you work with me, then you'll know. And I'm not saying I'm an angry person. Don't freak out. If you see me in public, don't be like, he's a son of a bitch! You often contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. Well, that's a deep one. Not a lot. There are times when I see humans behave the way they do, and it really irks me. And it's like, why, sometimes like, why were we put here? Why does that person exist if they're doing, such and such this way? I do think we were put here for a reason, to which I don't know. Maybe just to see how we survive in an ecosystem. So, I would agree with that. You often talk about your own feelings and emotions. Not as much as I'd like. If you're close with me, then yeah, I can easily, but with, not necessarily a stranger, but like someone who doesn't see me a lot or talk to me a lot, then you will probably never know anything about me. But I can do that all day with a friend. You have got a detailed education or career development plan stretching several years into the future. Nope. You rarely dwell on your regrets. I would disagree with that. And that's all I'll say. Spending time in a dynamic atmosphere with lots of people around quickly makes you feel drained and in need of a getaway. I can usually, if I'm somewhere where I'm comfortable, then I can usually, I can keep up. Let's just say that. You see yourself as more of a realist than a visionary. I would disagree, because I'm often in my own head thinking of, plans that I want to do, and what my life could be like this way or that way, and yeah, that's just how I think. You find it easy to empathize with a person who has gone through something you never have. I would agree with that. Because even though that I haven't gone through what they have, I can still be there for them, and I can try and cheer them up, and all that stuff. And when the time comes when I go through the same thing, they'll have experience in it. They'll know, hopefully they'll know what to say and all that. So your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than to organized and consistent efforts. No, I would definitely say I'm more organized, because I usually try to keep a steady pace when I'm working. If I slow down for any second, then it's like, man, I really don't want to do this now, Alright guys, home stretch. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Disagree. Psych, I agree. After a long and exhausting week, a fun party is just what you need. Yes and no. There are times when I just want to come home on the weekend and just chill out. But there are times when it's like, man, I really want to hang out with my friends, but they're busy or they can't get out of doing what they're currently doing and stuff. So I would say mostly though, I tend to want to hang out with people more than just be by myself. You frequently find yourself wondering how technological advancement can change everyday life. I would agree with that. New technology is being created every day. We don't know what's going to happen, days from now, months from now. So, you always consider how your actions might affect other people before doing something. Depends on the situation. Usually I try to think ahead of what could happen, but sometimes you just never know. You might think something goes one way, but it goes the complete opposite. So, I would agree with that though. You still honor the commitments you have made, even if you have a change of heart. I try. If I make a commitment to someone who's close with me, and I might think about it and be like, this isn't the best option, I I still made them a promise and I still got to follow through with it. Unless it's just something completely stupid. But yeah, I try. You rarely feel insecure. I would have to disagree with that because I've always been this way, and I always will be this way, no matter what. I care about the way that people look at me. I care about how they feel about me. And sometimes I hate that I think that way. Because I should be comfortable with myself. I should not worry about what others think. But, you can't help how you feel. So. Alright guys, let's see the results. Your personality type is Advocate, INFJ-T. The trait the mind. This trait determines how we interact with our environment. I'm a 57% introvert. I would definitely agree with that. Energy. This trait shows where we direct our mental energy. More intuitive than observant. Alright, cool. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. Nature. This trait determines how we make decisions and cope with emotions. I'm definitely... Wow, 81% feeling. Overthinking. I don't know. Okay. Tactics. This trait reflects our approach to work, planning, and decision making. I'm 60% judging and 40% prospecting. And then identity. This trait underpins all others, showing how confident we are in our abilities and decisions. I'm 21% assertive and 79% turbulent. Oh boy. The Advocate personality type is very rare, making up less than 1% of the population, but they nonetheless leave their mark on the world. Advocates have an inborn sense of idealism and morality, but what sets them apart is that they are not idle dreamers. These individuals are capable of taking concrete steps to realize their goals and make a lasting positive impact. People with this personality type tend to see helping others as their purpose in life. Interesting. Advocates can often be found engaging in rescue efforts and doing charity work. However, their real passion is to get to the heart of the issue so that people need not be rescued at all. I would definitely agree with that. Advocates indeed share a unique combination of traits. Though soft-spoken, they have very strong opinions and will fight tirelessly for an idea they believe in. They are decisive and strong-willed, but will rarely use that energy for personal gain. Okay. Advocates will act with creativity, imagination, conviction, and sensitivity not to create an advantage, but to create balance. Egalitarianism and karma are very attractive ideas to Advocate personalities. These types tend to believe that nothing would help the world so much as using love and compassion to soften the hearts of tyrants. Advocates find it easy to make connections with others. They have a talent for warm, sensitive language, speaking in human terms rather than with pure logic and fact. It makes sense that their friends and colleagues will come to think of them as quiet, extroverted personality types. Absolutely. However, they would all do well to remember that Advocates need time alone to decompress and recharge and not to become too alarmed when they suddenly withdraw. Advocates take great care of others' feelings and they expect the favor to be returned. Sometimes that means giving them the space they need for a few days. I would definitely agree with that. Live to fight another day. Really, though, it is most important for people with the Advocate personality type to remember to take care of themselves. The passion of their convictions is perfectly capable of carrying them past their breaking point. If their zeal gets out of hand, they can find themselves exhausted, unhealthy, and stressed. Way too much. This becomes especially apparent when Advocates find themselves up against conflict and criticism. Their sensitivity forces these personalities to do everything they can to evade these seemingly personal attacks. When the circumstances are unavoidable, however, they can fight back in highly irrational, helpful ways. To Advocates, the world is a place full of iniquity. but it doesn't have to be. No other personality type is better suited to create a movement to right a wrong, no matter how big or small. Advocates just need to remember that while they're busy taking care of the world, they need to take care of themselves too. Advocate strengths: creative, insightful, inspiring and convincing, decisive, determined and passionate. Okay. Advocate weaknesses: sensitive. Well, that's for damn sure. Extremely private. I don't know if I'd say extremely, but I can be that way. Perfectionistic. I mentioned that earlier, so that one's dead on. Always need to have a cause. Yes and no. Can burn out easily. That's for sure. There are times when I want to or have something going on, and I've been at it for a while, like a month, and then it's like, well, I don't want to continue to do this, but I have to because I know that eventually I'm going to come back to it. Romantic relationships? Nah. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you want to take this test yourself, just go to 16personalities.com. I will leave the site into the description, so you can go test out your personality, see what you come with, see if you match me, see if you get something totally, completely different. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure to hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe. Make sure to check me out on Instagram for some awesome action figure photos, and I will see you all in the next one.
He's a son of a bitch!